Yo, yo, yo. Peace, peace. Here we go. It's Wise right here with another edition of Wizetics Mental Wealth. Okay. Let's go. We going there today. As usual. Be real fast. Not gonna keep you a long time. We're gonna be real fast. So, what we talking about today? On this, November the 12th, 2025. We'll get right to it. Aristotle was wrong. Yeah, we're gonna get right to it. Aristotle was wrong. What was he wrong about? So I'm gonna quote some of the things that Aristotle. Who is Aristotle? For those who don't know, so Aristotle is a Greek philosopher. That's who Aristotle. He was a Greek philosopher, and for anybody who have excuse me, for anybody who have been inside the academic world, in college, or even those who study film, art, or anything like that, it kind of go back to Aristotle when they referencing like the pioneer, the thought leader, where did they pull their knowledge base from for today and how they operate within their systems, whether it's politics, art, philosophy, or whatever, right? So, Aristotle, he was the student. Well, you got Socrates, Plato, then Aristotle. So Aristotle is the student of Plato. Plato is the student of Socrates. And Socrates is the student of the ancient Egyptians. Let me say that part. So Socrates, he actually studied in ancient Egypt, which is called Kemet. So, but let's get to Aristotle. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot about Aristotle because it's really not about Aristotle per se, but Aristotle was wrong though. Because, and the reason why this is so important to recognize is because a lot of the things that we move off of today as far as institutions and systems in the United States, and which kind of like the Western thought system, which kind of like dominated the world for a long time, is based off of certain things that these individuals came up with. And one of the things that Aristotle was saying was that people were not smart enough, intelligent enough to govern themselves. So, because keep in mind, today we hear a lot about the oligarchs. You hear people saying, well, corporations run the world. Like corporations are the governing body, or they actually are the power. And, this kind of like I said, it comes from the thought processes of Aristotle and the philosophers of his time who had the thinking of the people not smart enough to govern themselves. So we got to have an elite, educated group that will provide social management, political management, economical management for the masses. That's basically how they kicked it, right? So if you look up Aristotle's right here saying, okay, in his politics, the many are not individually wise, but collectively they may possess enough wisdom to govern. So he didn't think the average person was wise enough on their own, right? So the philosophers and educated elites, he's saying they are fit to rule the common people. So this created the hierarchy, for the oligarchs, the wise few governing the many, or representative democracies that often limit direct power of the people. So the question is, okay, do you got a money issue or do you got a mindset issue? What you got? What's your problem? Is it money or is it mindset? Got some people coming in. Okay, comment, drop comment. What's your issue? Is it money or mindset? Some people say it's both. So, okay, now because the systems that have been established for a very long time is based off of the people are not intelligent enough or wise enough or smart enough to govern themselves. So therefore, the educated few are the ones who govern the illiterate many. That became the framework for government systems for a very long time, like for centuries. And because that was the case, you have a certain point in time in the 60s where you begin to hear power to the people. Power to the people became an outcry against the Aristotle structured system of the elite few controlling the many, the masses. That's where that came from. That's what prompted this to come about. But it's a little bit more deeper than that part, because remember the other day I was speaking about how Black Americans, we are the ones who provided a moral and set the tone for economic empowerment for the whole world. Not just the United States, for the whole world, because the United States became the dominant economic factor for the whole world. And the reason why the United States was able to become the dominant factor for the whole world is because of the Black Americans that exist in structuring the United States in the mental and physical side. Look at that episode and get more into that. I'm not going to go to that part now, but it segues into this. Aristotle was wrong. Power is in the people. So we don't even have to talk about power to the people, because power to the people, it implies that the power exists with the institutions, with the government, with the oligarchs, or whatever elite group of people that is being perceived as the ones with the power. So today I'm going to explain to you why they don't really have the power. Now they have something, but it only exists if this exists. What they have as power only exists when this exists. So what is your issue? Do you have a mindset issue, or do you have a money issue? And so this episode is brought to you, as always, by Wizetics. The system, the 7-pillar system, Wizetics OS Life-Biz Infrastructure, is powered by Wizetics OS Life-Biz Infrastructure. Everything I do is powered by that. And so we have Wise Network Academy, we have Wise Network Consultancy. So that's what's powering this motion that you are a part of right now. So some people saying they got a mindset issue. Some people, okay, you have a few saying they got a money issue. But I would say the money issue is actually a mindset issue. But nevertheless, here we go. The reason why I'm going to tell you why power is in the people, and we don't even have to get into power to the people, is because there's something that exists in you that is directly connected to everything around you, throughout the whole universe. Yeah, it's something in you. And when I say that's something, you can call it whatever you want to call it, right? So that which we can't see that exists within us, which gives us the ability to activate and move, to think, all of that right there, the inner aspect of us, is the exact same thing that keep the planets in circulation. And think about this, right? The planets are rotating at a terrific speed, and we say 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. But check this out: the planets never crash into each other. Jupiter don't never crash into Saturn. Mercury don't never crash into Venus. And I'm not saying that one day I don't know, in the future it could crash, but I'm saying for as long as we can remember, or as long as we can calculate our physical existence here on the planet Earth, those planets have never crashed into each other. So that lets us know something, whether we can recognize what it is that we know or not, right? So some people say, oh, that's God, that's the universal architect, whatever you want to call it. It exists inside of you. So now, because it exists inside of you, you got to think as a child is there. So it's certain nourishment that has to take place in order for it to be effective in your life, for you to use it for your benefit. So Aristotle was wrong. But he was right only to the extent that if the people are kept illiterate on purpose, or if the people are miseducated on purpose, like what is the purpose for their existence, then the people who have the education and knowledge about what purpose is for us to be here, and they recognize their purpose, they recognize their purpose, then they have a certain knowledge that they are able to utilize to govern the people, because the people are not smart enough themselves. So that's kind of like saying, like my daughter. I got my daughter, she's a baby. Intelligent enough, educated enough to know what she should eat and what she shouldn't eat. She's not educated enough or informed enough to know how to put her clothes on herself, because she's a baby right now. So she can't put her own diaper. She can't change her own diaper. And even as you got children, as they grow, 10, 11, 12 years old, are they informed enough to know how to maintain the household? Because certain things they won't be doing based off of, they still more inclined to what they desire, which runs rampant with just chasing pleasure of, I just want to eat candy, or I just want to play video games, or I just want to just play. I don't so now this is the basic growth and development process from a baby to a young person, adolescent to an adult. But imagine if certain things are structured a certain way around you, that this part of you never gets to be properly nourished and developed, and which is the part of you that deals with reason, the part of you that deals with intelligence, discernment, and intuition, never gets developed, functioning in the physical form, which is being classified as an adult. Being classified as an adult means that you supposed to be responsible for things like your own upkeep, your own self-preservation, yourself, meaning that you're responsible to go get your own food, your own clothes, your own shelter, because as a child, these things get provided for you by your parents. That's the social contract. That's what it is. Okay, you didn't come here by yourself. You physically could have came in, but you were produced by two people. Man and woman come together, produce a child. This is just the basics, but I'm just putting this in a certain context that create for you a certain enlightenment, for you to see something of why Aristotle was wrong. and why power is in the people. And how does this help you in your life and business? How does you recognize and how Aristotle was wrong and how power is in the people help you in your life relationships and business relationships, which should actually be the same relationships? Life and business go together. Life is business and business is war. So you got to have strategies, tactics, and maneuvers. So how does this help you develop strategy, tactics, and help you be able to maneuver in the conditions that when we started talking about you establishing generational wealth, going through the 7 pillars of Wizetics, starting with mindset. So we've been on mindset for, the first parts of these episodes because this is mental wealth. So what mental wealth is doing is preparing you to be able to travel through the 7 pillars, to be able to travel through the different stages of your own consciousness, to travel through the different stages of life development and business development. That's what this is about. So if you got a mindset problem or a money problem, it's really connected, all rooted in the mindset. It's not either or, it's both, right? So check it out. Aristotle and those that were of his peer, of his contemporary time and all of that, and those who descend from that philosophical system of thinking, which became baked inside of the education system in the United States, they looked at things as, well, the people are not smart enough to govern themselves, so the elite have to govern them. So this gave rise to the oligarch. This gave rise to representatives. I'm gonna represent you because you're not smart enough to represent yourself. So I'm gonna represent you on your behalf and say what's best for you, because you're really a child in your thinking process. You really haven't developed and evolved in your brain operations to be able to make the right decisions that are good for you. And if you can't make the right decisions that's good for you, then you could be doing some things that could also disrupt things for other people. Because imagine there's a group of you, there's a group of children just playing. We got a group of children just playing around. They playing, doing what they do. They knocking over furniture, doing things. Okay, they're not, let's say you just leave them there for some days. They're not really taking care of their hygiene because they just want to have fun. They just got candy. So if I just got a lot of candy provided to you, a lot of fun things to do, then as a child, that's what a child does. A child does what a child does. But imagine that the child's supposed to be an adult and have these responsibilities that they must attend to, but because they didn't develop internally, that they now are operating in an adult body with a child mentality. But it's so normalized that it's just being recognized as we all are functioning adults on the level that we're supposed to be. Yet we're looking up and seeing some people have certain type of power in certain type of positions, managing certain aspects of resources and living a certain lifestyle, and we say they got the power. These people got all the power. So in the 60s, they said power to the people. Like, these people shouldn't have all that power. This power should be handed down to the people, because why? The government's supposed to be for the people, by the people, according to a democracy. But then in certain areas of the world, you have monarchs, dictators, which they don't say no power into no people or nothing. That whatever we say is what it is, regards to whom or what. And that's what comes from Aristotle thinking. But then when you like mold and shape this into a system of representative democracy, now it becomes, okay, you vote for the person that you want to represent you. So you vote for your city council person, you vote for your commissioner, you vote for your delegate, you vote for your senator, you vote for the president, right? But they are the ones who structure the legislation. They are the ones who put together the governing policies that affect your life, because it's still saying you yourself ain't qualified enough to do these things. So we're going to do it for you because we have the what? Education. We have the know-how. We understand how these things go. We are more responsible in our decision making. So that's what that power is yielded to. But it's only there based off of what? Ignorance. Why does the devil keep our people illiterate? So that he can use them for a tool and also a slave. He keep them blind to themselves so that he can master them. Illiterate means ignorant. That's what that's based off of. So if you have miseducation, you have people educating you, miseducating you on purpose. So you being educated, you are inside of an environment that you naively look at as being a place to be educated. But technically you're being miseducated, or technically you are being malnourished. So you're not being properly fed the proper information that is necessary for you to develop within yourself that will allow you to operate from a reasoning perspective, and not just that, intelligence. Meaning that you can discern situations in a fashion that keeps harmony in your own life and society. And ultimately, when each individual can do that, then everything operates with self-government. That's what ultimately leads to self-government. So Aristotle was wrong. Power is in the people. The people they possess the potential to be intelligent if nourishment is properly provided. So if we cripple certain things in the growth and development process, meaning if we cripple things at the very beginning, meaning at the level of the child, if we cripple that specific stage, this is why childhood development is so vital. This is why childhood development is so vital, because at the point of childhood development is where the maker or breaker is at. If this child is not properly nourished mentally and physically, emotionally, all the aspects of nourishment that's needed for that child's existence, if it's not there, the development is going to be crippled. And then, because we are talking about a situation where you have the ability to make decisions, you have a choice that you can make, and then now you haven't been developed in your choice making system, meaning your will has not been developed. They say you got free will, but if your will is not developed, then you're moving off of desire. And so now your desires rule you. And then now you can be ruled by other people through your desires, but you are making the choice. So it can appear to be your responsibility, meaning that the decision that you made, because you made the decision yourself, and the consequences that comes along with that decision, it's your fault because you made that decision. Nobody else made the decision. You chose to eat what you chose to eat. You chose to do what you chose to do. And now, as a result of what you chose, this is what you get. Is your fault. And now the system comes in as a way to say, well, if you did something that's considered to be illegal, now you contact with the criminal justice system because you made the decision to do that. That was your choice. Now you have to face these consequences. On the other end, you chose to have that baby. You chose to have sex. You chose to do these things. And now the result is, here go this child. It's your responsibility. No one else has to help you with that because that's what you did. That's how the system that's how the system is structured. So this is why you can have a conservative base that says, we don't have to give away no free health care. We don't think that it should be this way where if the government has to come in and do this. No, this private. You deal with that on your own, and you made a decision to commit this crime, so you face these consequences of being locked up under these conditions that exist in the prison prison industrial complex. You deserve that. So then you have some other people saying, we need to help them because, you know, we got to provide for our citizens, citizens, they got incarcerated, come back out, or we need to provide, SNAP, you know? So this is how we get all of this. And then it becomes so conflicting and confusing to a lot of people. They bickering and beefing on both sides. We don't need that. Yes, we do need that. What you need is just a proper education. So this is why it's a responsibility for the one who know to go educate the young, be an example for the young, so the young can model the behavior, because you imitate what you see as a child. So you got to have the proper things in your environment to see, to emulate, that will inspire you to grow up into the next level of your stage in your development. And then a deeper level is you understanding certain internal things, or being taught certain internal things such as meditation, self-awareness, yoga. See, these are certain things that are nourishment for your internal GPS system, your intuition to be developed, your intelligence to be activated. Food for thought, food for the spirit, food for the mind, mental wealth. This is what mental wealth is. And it's hard to get it to you when you're already at a certain stage of your life where these things didn't get provided to you when you were young. So it's a lot of intention that has to be put in place. It's a lot of effort that has to be put in place, because you have been molded into a habitual way of operating that puts you on a course of self-destruction gradually. You're doing things that's counterproductive over and over, but don't realize it, but it feels good while you're doing it though. It tastes good, feel good, and you continue to do it because it allows you to feel pleasure, but not realizing that you are building up a lot of negative consequences. You're building up some things that's going to hit you later. Sometimes you could just do one wrong move, wrong decision, and it hit you right then and there. Certain young people get killed or get locked up or face certain situations at a young age. They don't get another opportunity to, grow from it or learn from that mistake and not be able to. No, they made a decision. They got caught up in a situation, or they just so happened to be in an environment that they didn't even ask to be in, because they was just born in that environment. So they was born into this household, and they living inside this a neighborhood, and a shot just came by. The child was inside their room playing, and it got hit and it died. These are situations that occur. Gravity don't care if you a baby or old lady. Gravity does what it does. But Aristotle was wrong. Power is in the people. But if it's because power is in the people, that means education has to be the main focus to provide the nourishment, the mental nourishment, the emotional nourishment, the spiritual nourishment that allow a person to just grow according to the natural order. Everything works itself out like that. But because everything else is already taking place with all these crippled these things that's in place that cripple that growth and development nourishment, what do? This is where the knowledge of self come in, and this is where certain people who have been afforded with that responsibility by going through their rites of passage in their growth and development of receiving knowledge of self. Now you have to go now and have yourself being an example. You a living example for the young. This is how I should do. This is how I should. And a lot of times people don't want to listen to certain things because it invokes certain aspects. Don't eat that. That's not something you should eat. So you have to be able to frame it in a way that can be received and digested and applied. Not just, I know the right thing you should do, and this is what you should do, and you better do it, and if you don't do it, see, that part is not digestible. Even though what you're saying is what is factual, like this is what a person actually need, but because their situation is the way it is, meaning their mental framework is structured the way it is, their wired brain is the way it is, they can't receive it that way. It's not going to be digested. It's like trying to plant a seed on top of the ground. The ground has to be cultivated, then plant the seed, and in certain situations have to occur with the sun, light, and the rain, the water, to provide that field of operation for growth and development. These things are what takes place, and then we going against certain forces, meaning people who know the same thing, but they intentionally disrupt. How do you deal with that? You got to become undeniable. So that's what I look at. When you become undeniable, you can't be denied. How do you become undeniable? You got to go inside yourself and build up your mental wealth. You got to go through these 7 pillars. Mindset mapping being the first one. And then the last one is legacy leadership. Because when you travel through these pillars, these 7 pillars is connected to another framework beneath the surface of just mindset mapping, structure, Life-Biz operation, Genesis, market, monetization, all of that. That's surface level. It's something beneath that called the 7 planes of energy. See, that's when you get a little bit deeper into it. And so now that's an elite, because what makes it elite is because you gotta really things that's around you. You gotta put a lot of effort and intention into what you're doing. Your business is not going to grow just because you got a good idea. Your business is not going to flourish because here's the thing. Power is in the people. Power is in the people. For example, this is how I'm going to give it to you. And this is how I'm kind of close this out, because information, okay, it is what it is. It tickles your ears. It stimulates your mind. But now we're talking about, does it produce action? It's strong enough, impactful enough to where it causes you to act upon what you heard, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and now you perform in your action, and it becomes a part of your daily regimen. So now you're going to see changes start to take place, and you build the momentum up, and then it gets faster. It starts off slow, and it's like, gotta keep pushing, and you gotta keep being intentional, and you gotta keep going even when it seems like it's not working. And then you getting hit with this challenge, and then your pressure is hitting your brain, and then you just gotta stay focused and understand that this is a part of the process. So here we go, real fast, real quick with this. Power is in the people. Aristotle was wrong, because check it out. The only way that a politician in the United States of America becomes a politician, you want to hear this? You ready? Through the vote. The only way they get into that position is through vote. Now, something can happen, and it could be some type of exception to the rule. Somebody died in office or something, and they just appoint somebody to hold that place until the next term of election comes around. Yet the people going out to vote, and the majority of that puts that person in position. Only time that doesn't go is on the electoral, the presidency. But politics is local, right? Because what happens on the local level and the state level influence the federal level. But check this out. That's just the political side. Let's get to the economical side. Power is in the people. How? If I have a business, I got a company, right? My company does not make any profit unless I have customers with an S. I gotta have clients who invest in me, provide me with their current. They have to purchase. They have to put money to check out. You gotta check out. They gotta buy. Power is in the people. So if no people come to do business with me, I don't make no money as a business. That's how simple it is. If the people don't go out to vote, and enough people vote for the same person, then that person don't get into office. Power is in the people. Aristotle was wrong. They keep saying power to the people. You don't have to say power to the people. The power is already in you if you know. So it's a matter of awareness. That's all you have to do. Power is in the awareness. For centuries, it's been power in the elite, and people thinking that the power has to be granted. You gotta generate it, right? See, Aristotle believed the people weren't smart enough to lead themselves, but he never met a people who knew how to turn pain into purpose. That's what we do through Wizetics. We build from the inside out. See, Aristotle once said, govern themselves. He believed power belonged to the philosophers, the educated few, while the common people were meant to be ruled. But see, it's a major flaw in that. He mistook access to education for access to wisdom. See, in Wizetics, we teach that power is in the people, not to the people, because power can't be handed down by institutions. It has to be activated from within you. See, our people, we live through it. We built from struggle, from culture, from consciousness. And take it back to what I just said. Aristotle was a student of Plato. Plato was a student of Socrates. Socrates was a student of ancient Kemet. So in mindset mapping, right, we teaching you how to think. Strategic structuring teaches you how to build. Legacy leadership teaches you how to pass it on. The power was never above the people. It's been in the people all along. That's the Wizetics way. You see, that's the Wizetics way. Power was never outside of the people. They just didn't know it. Power in the people, purpose in the plan. You don't need validation to be valuable. The system can't control what's already awakened within you. When you activate your inner infrastructure, you shift from being managed to mastering. That's mental wealth. Power is in the people. Power in the people. I'm going to go through it again. When I say power in the people, I'm not talking about something that's handed down from the top. I'm talking about something that's already born inside of you. The system made you believe power had to be given, but truth is, it was always in you. That spark that makes you dream bigger, move different, stand stronger. That's the real infrastructure. See, Wizetics is not just about business. It's about inner engineering. Because once you activate the power in the people stop asking for permission. See, people say, oh, we can just boycott. We don't have to go spend our money over there and we can march it up. Power in the people is when you realize your purpose. Power in the people is purpose realized. It's mindset mapped, structure built, and legacy led. That's the Wizetics way. You don't need validation to be valuable. See, this is what I'm giving in the Wise Network Academy. This is what people are getting. So when I'm in, because I did this and I never looked for anything to say, pay me for what I'm telling you. Yet, this is what I had to realize. Check this out. I'm over here working for somebody else, taking my money and paying my bills. You working for someone else over here. The people that you pay your bills to and the people that you're working for, they all connected. That's their system. You see, so now you have to create your own ecosystem. So, but in order to do that, I had to say, look, this is what an investment in yourself looks like in rocking with me. You invest in me, I invest in you, right? That's how it goes. You invest in me, it can be one-on-one coaching. You can invest in me, you get the book. You invest in me, we in group coaching. You invest in me, we going through business formation, scaling, access to funding. You investing in me and I'm investing in you. It's a mutual exchange of value. It's a win-win situation. Fair exchange is not a robbery. So we got everybody else doing what they do. They do what they do. You just got to become undeniable, because it's in a competitive world. You got to know who your competition is, because you could be competing against yourself in a way that you become counterproductive. So we have to circulate. You already heard these things. Oh, we got to circulate the black dollar amongst ourselves, buy black. You'd have heard that over and over and over and over and over. We'd have been hearing these things over and over and over and over and over. Right? You'd have heard that before. We didn't heard that before. How do you apply it though? How do you make it work? How do you make it work? It's a therapeutic thing. It means it has to be constant, non-stop. Because the key to success, the real key to success, is don't give up. That's the real key. Don't give up. Don't give up. Look at this camera. I look at that camera. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. That's the Wizetics way. That's the Wizetics way. Peace.